Hi, welcome to Recent Library Reads number 7. These are some library books I read from August 9th to 20th. This time I wanted to check out some of the Arthur books by Mark Brown, so I got 5 of those. I had never actually read any of them before. I like the TV show and I know there are books. I know there are a bunch of books, but I wanted to get like the originals, and I'm going to be checking out some more in the future. Plus, these are nice light reads to read in the middle of novels, which I do read. I just haven't been going over those in recent library reads videos because I've been checking out smaller books from the library and I read novels that I already own, though I will be checking out more novels from the library in the future. And these are cute, fun, illustrated books. I think it's interesting how old some of these are. Like, the Arthur books go back all the way to the 70s. I think at least one of the books in this stack is originally from the 80s. So I got Arthur Writes a Story, Arthur and the Baby, Arthur It's Only Rock and Roll. This is basically like a book of the episode from, I think it was the early 2000s with the Backstreet Boys. Arthur Goes to Camp. This is the one that was originally from the 80s. And Arthur Turns Green. So my county's libraries have, I would say, most of the original Arthur books, not all of them, but a lot of them, so I will be checking out more in the future. Some of these I liked more than others. I liked Arthur Writes a Story the most. Some of them had good educational messages or just good messages and lessons in general. Some are more just stories. But I like Arthur for a lot of reasons, like the show, and I think one of the reasons is because it teaches people a lot, and not just kids. Like, I think some of the things in that show can be beneficial to older people as well. I think that even as an adult, the show still teaches me things and I still learn useful things and advice from it. I guess I don't have much else to say about these, but let me know if you have read any Arthur books and maybe you have a favorite. I'm looking forward to reading more of them. You can also let me know if maybe you like the show. I definitely want to watch more of the show, but it's kind of hard to find episodes. Like, some full episodes you can find on YouTube, but I don't think it's on any streaming services unless it's like a thing you have to pay for additionally. Maybe I'll do that in the future. I have not watched most of it, but I have really enjoyed most of the episodes of it that I've seen. The next couple of books that I read from the library are pretty interesting to me because they are part of a franchise that I enjoyed in elementary school. Those are books in the My Weird School series, although these are not like regular books in the series. Most of them are stories, and these are 2 nonfiction books, but they have the characters from that world. So I remember reading a lot of the My Weird School books in 5th grade, maybe 4th grade as well, but around that time. So I haven't read any of those books in, I guess, 10 years, but I remember having enjoyed them. I had recently watched an interview with Dan Gutman, the author, and I thought that a lot of his other books sounded pretty interesting, but the interview also just reminded me of the My Weird School books, and I learned about the existence of some of the books that I thought would be interesting to read, so I checked out 2 of them. So I checked out My Weird Reading Tips. This was published a few years after I was done with elementary school, and yeah, I already read a lot, but I think this book still has some valuable information. I think that it's good for people, especially kids, because that is who it's targeted towards, but because it is, it's pretty easy and quick to read. I think that it's good for kids who are reluctant to read or who don't like reading very much. I think the author isn't just preaching at them like, you should read and here's why. Like, he meets them where they're feeling because he also used to feel that way. And so I think it comes from a validating standpoint, and the book has advice and tips, even tips that I think adult readers could benefit from. Like, for example, what's your rush? Take your time. Enjoy the experience. Reading isn't a race. And I think a lot of people, especially a lot of bookish people on social media, do struggle with things like that, trying to read as many books as they can or trying to read really fast. So that was a good reminder. This book also has some excerpts from the My Weird School novels. Like, maybe they're not considered novels, but you know, the chapter books. And I think it helps with reading comprehension. It helps teach kids how to do things like making predictions and using context clues. Reading this book definitely took me back to when I was in school, not just because I enjoyed My Weird School in elementary school, but also because of the things it taught. But I enjoyed that aspect of school. I think it's got a lot of useful information and tips, even for adult readers. Yes, it is definitely targeted towards kids. Some adults wouldn't really benefit at all from reading this because they might know everything in this already, but I enjoyed it. It also has some activities, so there's an interactive component to it. So yeah, I really enjoyed My Weird Reading Tips. And I also read one of the My Weird School Fast Facts books. This one is called Pizza, Peanut Butter, and Pickles. This is just a nonfiction book with the 2 main characters of My Weird School talking about food. A lot of different kinds of food. There's very much a lot of history in here and a lot of facts. and the facts are presented in a fun, fast, and humorous way. I really enjoyed this. I learned a lot from it. These books have illustrations in them as well, so that's always fun. And then I've got 2 Who Was books. These books are usually featured in my recent library reads videos, at least they have been recently. So I read Who Was Ernest Hemingway by Jim Gigliotti and What Is Rock and Roll by Jim O'Connor. So the one about Ernest Hemingway was pretty interesting. I didn't really know anything about him beforehand. Like, I don't know if I'd even be able to name any of his books, but I thought this one was pretty interesting, and I thought that some of his books sounded interesting. I haven't added any of them to my TBR, but I looked into it. So this one was pretty interesting, and I felt that it was honest and didn't shy away from the less than pleasant aspects of his life and some of the things he did. This was written for kids in mind, and I think that those topics were handled in a good way. What Is Rock and Roll is a little different because this is not one of the biographies that is about a person, but rather about a specific topic. Now, these books are only a little over 100 pages long, so the amount of information that can be put in them is pretty limited. Now, I liked this one, found it interesting, and it did go over some artists I like and some I would like to check out more of. I agree with a reviewer on Goodreads who mentioned that some of this book contained like pages or a whole chapter dedicated to a specific artist, when in fact there are already Who Was books about those artists, and they felt that those parts could have been omitted to include more of the history, because yeah, you can't include everything, but yeah, certain genres, like subgenres or artists just weren't mentioned at all, which I know you can't include everything, but I think that maybe this book focused a little on the wrong things, but I understand that it would be kind of tough to figure out what to put in this when you already don't have much space to work with. But this is one of the Who Was books that has some photos in it, so I've always enjoyed those. There have been those and a few others. Like, I know there were the photos in What Is Nintendo, there were the photos in What Is Lego. I still thought it was good and interesting. I guess I just didn't absolutely love it. I understand how it could be difficult to choose what to put in it, but I did feel like that Goodreads reviewer said that perhaps there shouldn't have been a lot of time spent on certain artists when you don't have much time to begin with, so you include more facts. But at the same time, that did make it interesting. But I don't know, maybe this topic is just too big to put in one of these books, but an attempt was made and I still enjoyed it. So there are the library books I read recently. For my next video, you should be seeing more Arthur books, one book that is actually not a children's book, and some other books. Thank you for watching.